Hello everyone. First of all, welcome to today's live session. This is your host Tumi Pandey, and in this weekend we have come up with another author today, and let's welcome him. We have Yatin Samant sir with us today. So let me give a little bit brief about sir. So Yatin Samant sir is an engineer and AMP, business management postgraduate with more than 34 years of corporate working experience in a diverse set of industries in India and Asia Pacific. And he has also headed many organizations and worked as CEO and managing directors. So we know he has a full pack of experiences and knowledge. So author Yatin Samant is also credentialized personal coach since 2012, and he has been a visiting faculty at renowned management institutes in like Bangalore. So today we will be talking about his book Invoke Inner Wisdom, Empower Self by Yatin Samant sir. Yes. So, sir, first of all, welcome to today's session. We are really happy to have you today here with us.
Thank you.
So, hope you are doing really great. And how do you feel about writing and publishing this book?
See, writing is not my destination. It is a form of expression. In the sense, I have been writing actually since my school days. I have about three books already published. I started with poetry, then prose. That was in Marathi. Then there'll be a series of three books. First of which is published now. But as I said, it is not the destination. It happens as a form, as a means of expression. The inspiration is value creation, adding value or making meaningful difference to human life or anything that you do is the spectrum I work in. So one of the expression is book, other could be coaching or workshops, and various things. So human interaction captured now in the form of a book. That's how it happened.
Yeah. So, like, how did you come up across this title, Invoke Inner Wisdom? And as you already told about, it's about human interaction. So, can you please elaborate how did you come up with this title?
Okay. See, I realize there are two learning pathways, as I call them. I call them as one is called outside in learning pathway, and the second is inside out learning pathway. Outside in is the conventional pathway which starts from our childhood when you go to school. It is about everything that we receive as inputs from outside. Okay, whether it is teaching, training, skilling, mentoring, or let's say motivational speeches, reading, observing. Okay, inside out is based on a premise that there is much to learn for oneself from self than from outside. And I believe it's an adult learning pathway. See, when you're a child, your mental slate is clean. You need inputs from outside. So outside in is a correct pathway. But as you grow, there's a diminishing returns from outside in. Besides, it does not give customized learning because it is like a feeding channel. It's a diet equivalent. A diet is not specific to individual. Metabolism is specific to individual. So inside out learning is like a metabolism way. If you work on your metabolism, any diet is good for you. So what does it mean? Inside out learning in the sense, see, every year that you complete or every major experience in life is like a juicy fruit. Now, what happens is, by default, we keep on accumulating these fruits and do nothing about them. But the real development or nourishment happens when you take the juice out of this fruit and drink. Taking juice out of the fruit is taking the essence of learning from each experience. Okay, suppose in an interaction you somebody behaves erratically or you get angry. After the incidents, you must spend time and reflect and think that what made me behave like that? Was there any other option? If that's so, then why did I not take the option? these learning come deep from inside as a result of the reflection that you do. That is inside out learning. So there are four mechanisms I know of inside out learning. One is reflection, second is introspection, third is meditation, and fourth is self dialogue. And I believe for adults, there's much to learn from self, inside out than outside in. Okay, which means how we think decides what we do and what we achieve. The power is not in circumstances; it is in your mind. So you need to invoke that power. So that is why it is invoking inner wisdom. Wisdom is always inside you. You only need to invoke. What is outside is only knowledge. It's an unprocessed raw ingredients. When you process in your mind, then it becomes a final recipe. That is your learning. So it has to come from inside. So you need to invoke that inner wisdom. That is how you can take charge of your life. That is about empowerment.
Okay. Uh, so, sir, as you are talking about empowerment, so how this invoking thing really going to make change in your personality, the person you are? Because, like, I believe in this process, we also have to unlearn many things that we have learned so much this far. Okay, as you told about we have learned about we grown up like hearing different things, and then we shift the vision that we have to invoke the inner wisdom, and this wisdom is always inside us. So how did one's personality get affected in this, like in this cycle? What do you think?
You get enriched, and I'll tell you how. So I will
Hmm.
give you an equivalent of a process called digestion. Then we will
Hmm.
come back to the process of thought
Hmm.
digestion. See, when you eat,
Hmm.
it is outside in mechanism. So you eat the ingredients take inside from outside, right?
Hmm.
And when you chew, it goes through two major processes, which is called digestion,
Hmm.
which is processing inside your stomach,
Hmm.
and then it becomes assimilation. Assimilation is the essence from the digestion is absorbed in your bloodstream. That gives you
Hmm.
the nutrients and the energy. Okay.
Yes. Hmm.
So until the digestion and assimilation happens,
Hmm.
you don't benefit, because if your body is incapable of doing digestion, then it is thrown out. You vomit. Correct. Same is true for your mental process. Now you imagine the same process mentally. All you get and see and observe and read is only raw ingredients. Unless you process, there is a processor in everybody's mind. Some are aware, some are not, some are inadvertently used, some don't, some for some the processor never starts till their death. But there's a processor. So imagine that inputs which you receive from outside, when you process in your mind, the realizations which happen in your mind, which is your customized, individualized learning. That is the reason why two people going to the same school or same management school or same upbringing or going to the same training program do not get the same benefit, because it is not contained in what they get. It is a result of what they do with that. What you do with what you get decides what you benefit and therefore how you behave. So how you think decides what you do, that decides what you achieve, and that is where the paths become separate for two individuals. They may have got the same inputs and learnings and exposures, right? So this is a process of synthesis. It's a continuous process. Some people do it consciously, some inadvertently, some never do it. Those people who don't do it, uh, they they might call as a cut paste. You know, cut paste on WhatsApp. What you receive is all are 95% people only forward. They don't add any value. They don't think. They don't add. So they are only couriers or postmen. That's how we behave in life. You need to add value to everything that comes to you, whether it's a thought, whether it's a product, whether it's a person, whether it's a relationship. If you do not add value, then you don't benefit. So this is about creating that value, which can only happen. with the processor in your mind that tells you what does it mean. If you and me see the same picture, the thought which come in your mind are different than thought come in my mind, which make me behave or respond differently. That is my uniqueness. Now I need to harness that and develop that to become an evolved person, a more thinking person. That's how you can think independently. Otherwise, most of us are cut paste. See, I use this not literally, but most people, just gulp down whatever inputs they get. They vomit in exam papers, they vomit in interviews, they vomit in WhatsApp, and it stinks because that's not authentic.
mm,
Your digestion process is not complete. You need to process everything that you take inside, whether food or thought. And
mm.
that is how you grow inside as a person. You expand your way of thinking, and therefore your interpretation, your realization, therefore your responses to the world, and therefore your achievement.
Okay. So, sir, it's a very complex, I would say, and very beautiful process as you have explained. Like, if we, it's just as simple as that every human is different and every human process things differently. But if you get like into the process, if you try to understand how this things comes up, this is little complex. So I'm really glad that you were able to break it down into similar words. And I hope also like this kind of thing, this kind of writing and explanation we can expect from this book. What do you think?
Yes, see, okay, I'll give you an analogy, and I use
Mm,
analogies most of the time because analogies help you, quickly understand concept. What takes you for 10 lines of description can be done in 2 lines of analogy.
mm,
Uh, if you imagine a human mind as a pond of water, is a still
mm,
water. hmm, what I do, whether I'm speaking to you, or I write the book, or I conduct workshops, or I do coaching, as if I'm throwing a stone in the pond. When I throw a stone in a pond, you know
mm,
what happens. There are concentric circles of the water. There's something happens in the water because it gets disturbed. Thing I do, and that's my role, is to make you think and think differently. Because in absence of this provocation or prompting, human minds remain as a still pond of water which can carry fungus. It stagnates.
mm,
It is not that people are not talented. Most of us are talented. We are under leveraged because we don't use it, because we get into the routine. We don't think. That is the reason why I told you 95% on WhatsApp content is a forward. There is no original. Only few people write original. Even if you get a video, if you like and circulate, you should you should put your thoughts on that. Saying, why did I like this? What I highlight in the, which means you process that. What is your interpretation of that video, for example? That is a value creation. So, what I do with this book or any human interaction is to ignite that independent thinking. See, once that lamp is there, in the light of that lamp, that person can see longer. Currently, it's not there because he or she is not aware and they're not used to. See, our current education system has worked for us, but it is all feeding channel. It is not thinking channel. We don't encourage curiosity, inquisitiveness, like or interactions. We gulp down. We score marks. That's why the pursuit in schools and colleges is earning more marks and grades. It's not learning, right? So learning does not happen. So my job is only to make you think, to pause, think, and think differently. That is how you create independent thinking. See, if you tell me what you read from the book, that's not original. That I can read from the book also. So you have not added any value. But if you tell me your interpretation of what you read, that is great value for me because I will not get that from the book. That is the
mm.
stage I want everybody to go into.
Okay. So, sir, as you are talking about value addition, like everything that is being forwarded in WhatsApp and today's world, most of the things that we just see and forward, not actually add any value, as explained by you. So,
Right?
in this thing, if we make a like comparison, I don't think comparison would be a good word, but if we see it from a broader view, and if I ask you to analyze from the value addition thing, the things that used to happen 20 to 25 years ago, that we used to read newspaper, we used to critically analyze, then we used to have our own opinion that time. But nowadays, as we see, most of the people are not getting much involved in these things. They are not even ready to read any new thing. Whatever, even the students, they're just going to college and getting a degree, getting a job. So, if this cycle continues in a longer run, what do you think? What kind of effect will come on a society, in a country? What do you think?
I would use your question with a little different twist. Rather
Hmm.
than extrapolating the degeneration which
Hmm.
is implied in your question, I would like to stem it and saying that what do we need to do to change
Hmm.
that? Because extrapolating and projecting degeneration is an academic exercise that doesn't help. Okay. See,
Hmm.
what you told me 25 years back, actually, if you go back in ancient times,
Hmm.
debating was a
Hmm.
part of our culture.
Hmm.
Adi Shankaracharya had that famous debate which he won,
Hmm.
So those days, मतलब
Hmm.
two pandits, I used to call them pandit, no? The pandit उसको शास्त्रार्थ बोलते थे.
Yes.
You put your food, and that was debate. That was not fighting. So that was a
Hmm.
tradition. Anyway, let's come to now. See what has happened today is
Hmm.
yes, you're right. There are two things. One is exposure, and second is orientation. See, there is a
Hmm.
mind orientation. Now, let me go one
Hmm.
step back and explain to you so that people will understand the significance. I have understood there are four components for success. Okay.
Hmm.
One is called knowledge, which is pure
Hmm.
information, simple. Second is domain skill. Domain skill is a functional one which you pursue, engineer, doctor, marketing, finance. Third is
Hmm.
soft skill, which also many people are aware. The fourth important component is called mind orientation, which most people are not aware. Mind orientation is the
Hmm.
sarthi, and the first three are the horses, ghode.
Hmm.
Knowledge, domain skill, and soft skills are only enabler. There are horses, but if there's no rider to use their power, then it doesn't help. That is related to the gap. So mind orientation is the driver. Okay. What is mind orientation? Mind orientation is the way you think, your outlook. If I use a hardware, let's say your radar or your dish antenna or TV antenna,
Hmm.
you need to orient to an angle to receive the signals. That is orientation.
Hmm.
When you have two magnets, north and south pole, you want to orient them right in front of each other, then they attract and create power. If I keep them in different direction, that's a different orientation. It doesn't create power. That is the same way the power is mind orientation. So what is missing today is the orientation. How does it show? As I told you sometime back, current orientation of students is to pass with good marks. Learning is not the pursuit. That has to change. See, good marks should be a result of your learning. If you know the subject well, it should lead to you getting good marks. But bypassing learning, if you only excel in the technique of getting good marks
Hmm.
with whatever means, that is a wrong mind orientation. Who should do that? Everybody should. Parents is the first duty. We used to get this sanskar from our parents in the ancient times. So parents have to do, they have to orient their children. See, what is happening is their orientation has become too narrow, short. Passing an exam is very short term. Investing in learning is long term, but every short term is a result of the long term. So, in order to pursue the short term, you've lost the long term. That is the mind orientation. So that is one factor. Second is the exposure. I'm not as much worried as they are not reading newspapers and books, which also has to go up. See, the
Hmm.
formats have changed. There was no digital format earlier.
Hmm.
So, so if the orientation right, what I told you is that you need to increase your inner thinking power. You
Hmm.
can use it on whatever. See, even in today's age, the current youngster is still exposed to vast variety of things.
Mm.
It could be on his iPod, it could be on his internet, whatever. It could be on Kindle book, if not the whatever, right? It could
Yeah.
be the group interaction. So the
Mm.
inputs are not stopped. The format has changed. We can still make an attempt to bring them to the good formats. That is different. But the exposure is still there. What is missing is the processor in the
Mm.
mind, which has to be activated to make use of the all the exposure that you have to churn into a recipe. Recipe means end product. I should ask a question, what does that mean? If I read a news item, I should ask myself, what does that mean? That is the learning. If I only read the newspaper and don't think about it, don't ponder on that, I don't learn anything. I only accumulate knowledge as if you keep the books on the shelf. Keeping books on the shelf doesn't help you. Buying fruits and keeping on the shelf doesn't help you. You have to take juice and drink.
Mm.
So, two things to recap. I'm saying we have to work on orienting people right, saying that what is the existence, what is the long term goal in life, what is the pursuit in life? Is it getting good marks or is it understanding subject? Same for relationship. In relationship, if you have a short term pursuit, we try and kind of exploit each other to maximize individual advantage, physically, emotionally, financially, or whatever, right? That has to change to invest in relationship, not encash. We are quickly to encash. Even in jobs and etc., most of the people are very keen to encash whatever little they have learned and jump jobs to get 2 rupees, 5 rupees more in salary. They don't invest like we invest in stocks. They have to invest in themselves so that the encashment in the long term will be better. It's like a story of that, egg with chicken or whatever that goose with the golden eggs. Do you want to kill it
Mm.
now to get one egg, or do you want to harness that to get one golden egg every day? It's essentially a struggle between a short term and long term, which is a problem of orientation. So, one is the parents and the schools, even academic curriculum should be oriented towards creating a right frame of mind for students. Their dish antenna has to be angled right so that they can receive signal. That is one. And second is they should be encouraged to use the processor in their mind to not gulp down all that comes their way and give a superficial opinion. They have to take the juice out and find out what does it mean. Therefore, increase their curiosity, the inquisitiveness. Not take everything at face value, because then you become a postman and a courier boys. You cut paste your opinions based on what you read in the newspaper or what you hear on the TV. Nothing goes inside. So these are the two aspects we need to. I think it is possible to work, creating the right frame of mind, mind orientation, and the process you have to change to uh, make them process what they, you know, on the learning, not on the surface. Whether they read a book or a newspaper or a digital paper or anything. Even relationships, see, you can read relationships also, no? There is no newspaper. When you interact with human beings, whether are you investing in understanding a person or are you eager to change that person? The second one happens more. We are more eager to change the person to our opinion, our way of thinking, and so on. We don't invest in understanding. So it's a struggle of that short term benefit versus long term investment. That needs to change. That will fundamentally change a lot of things. Significantly, it will change.
As I have seen, like, you really explained it very amazingly, the whole concept. And I believe you have been involved in personally learning these things also. And I think you have also been a good observer of all these things. So, what do you think? Like, how did you come here as an author, as a writer? How did you end up in this journey? What was the process that you felt like writing it all down?
See, I told you as in the beginning,
Mm.
author is not my what do I say, pre-decided destination. It happened in the flow.
Mm.
the basic driver is creating value. Value creation is creating value means whatever you work with, whether it's a process, product, person, anything, that thing or that person, that product has to be better because of you. Otherwise, you not added value. If
mm,
you work with people and if people do and in the process of your interaction with you, if they are no better than they were earlier and without you, then you're not added value. Adding value is to make a meaningful difference to anything, including the human life. For example, if that person who's working with you feels more enriched and evolved as a person, it may be your employee, it may be your team member, it could be a boss, it could be a friend or colleague. Or are we just having a kind of a time pass conversations and say hi, hello, exchanging greetings and so on? That has no depth. Human interactions should lead to mutual nourishment. So these are the thoughts. So what I explained to you so far, I have undergone that. That is how I reached here. This has been a process for, I don't know where it started, but I can at least trace it out about 12 years back
mm,
to be in touch with my realizations, my concepts. I worked on different concepts as a part of this realization. Maid and mother and child is my one of my models. Business to business is another one. Win within win. You know, win lose and win win. I created a higher level transaction which is called win within win, which means your win is an intrinsic part of somebody else's win. There are no two wins. There are no two
mm,
parties. It's a concept of Advait, non-duality. Mother and child. Mother's win is an intrinsic part of a child's win.
mm,
Mother win is not separate than child's win. So all these concepts came through our wholesome working body and soul. Each thing that we work has two components, body and soul. Body is what is physical and visible. Soul is the invisible spirit which is driver. Our Western upbringing has made us work only on the body, physical and visible, which is why we celebrate Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day, and then forget the rest of the 364 days.
mm.
For mother, in our thing is not a day. Mother is lifetime, right? So that is soul. So all of these realizations have been accumulating. When
Mm,
I took cognizance of that, I started actively working on this. Is a process of last at least 10, 12 years that has led to the articles, blogs, and so on. Then that led to this book and the two more books to follow.
yeah. So, sir, I believe this has been a very incredible journey as you have taken a step to add value to others' lives. And I also believe, like, whatever things you have explained in this time, it was not a sufficient time, I would say. Uh, I, I would love to hear you as much as I can. But whatever you told here, it's really going to change some bit of my mind. I think so. So, yeah, and I believe by reading this book, many will be very grateful. And the thing you are considering, that adding some value, I think that is going to be very true in upcoming days. So, sir, thank you so much,
Sure.
especially for writing this book and being here with us today in our Astitva Prakashan and events publishing. We are really happy to have you. So, if you have anything to add from your side to your readers, you can.
I would share a few learnings, some useful things. For example, um, if you need, I think three, four things I can think of. If you need better foods, work at the roots,
Mm,
which means if you want to change, in my case, if you want to change behavior, the source is mind. I have to work on mind orientation.
mm,
Spraying some nutrients on the fruits don't make the new fruits better. You have to work on the roots. Okay.
mm,
The second thing is it is always better to be genuine than perfect.
mm,
It is always better to be sincere than correct. So one has to be
yeah,
true to themselves. It's better to be authentic than trying to pretend that you're perfect. Nobody is. But when you're authentic, it reaches. And then you also, have the confidence, because otherwise you have a duality. Third thing is, excellence happens only when we merge ourselves with the cause that you're pursuing. Non-duality, mother and child. When you work with duality, saying that you and your work, if there are two different things, then excellence is not possible.
mm,
Only when Advait happens, you identify with the cause or anything that you're doing is as if you submerge or surrender or become one with that. Only then excellence happens. Till you maintain duality, excellence does not happen. Okay.
yeah, okay. Again, thank you so much for all this session. And I believe whatever you have delivered is a combination of whatever you have learned so far, whatever you have grown like within yourself, and whatever you have read. And we as a generation is also very lucky to have some kind of author or mentor, we would say, who is guiding us. So thank you so much for being here with us today. And we are really glad to host you today in our session. Thank you so much, sir.
Sure. One thing before I end, since you asked me, see, one is my book is universal application, in the sense it is not domain specific, it is not age
Hmm.
specific. But if you ask me, if there is one audience which can benefit more, it is the youth.
Hmm.
Simple reason is what I realized in my 50s. If that
Hmm.
is made available to youth in their 20s, they have
Hmm.
30 years of head start, because they have longer run with life. They can
Hmm.
create miracle with their life and therefore also help their country. So if there's any way that you can reach this to
Hmm.
larger youth, because the future is there and they can make a
Hmm.
difference.
Yes, yes, sir, definitely. And to you all, we are announcing that the book is available on Amazon. I think you can check out there, and it will be available. And read it out, leave reviews so we can learn and grow mutually. So, yeah.